And I believe we are live. Good
All right.
afternoon, Crystal. How are you, ma'am?
I'm well. I'm well. Just got through a nice weekend of working in my garden, and then woke up this morning and this little pesky raccoon went in and just tried to destroy two trees,
Oh my gosh.
exposing exposing roots and everything. So
Oh my goodness.
now we're in battle. So
You and the raccoon.
me and the raccoon. My sister was trying to be nice. I said, you know what? The raccoon gonna increase your blood pressure. I suggest you start thinking of him as a terrorist and start behaving appropriately.
Oh no. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. It's
And
like that movie with the gopher all over again there.
yeah,
Caddyshack.
just like that. Because the other day we had put a rock, we had put something over so he wouldn't be able to get in. He pushed that out the way. It's like, okay, it's on and cracking now. You acting like a man. Okay, let's go. So I went and got me some tools and some stuff, and
Okay. All right. All
yeah.
right. Well, I am scared of you. Okay. Okay. Well, I am
Oh,
not only after I'm not that scared of you, I guess, but in addition to that, um, I am excited as usual to talk about our topic today, which is the plan is hard. And this is a subject that is near and dear to my heart because I'm pretty much an educator when it comes to retirement plans, and I pride
hmm,
myself on being able to speak with people so that I can break something down that's difficult into something that's chewable and negotiable for them, so they can make great decisions. And the reality of the situation is, I'm it's tough. It's tough. No matter as good as I think I am, and I'm pretty cocky, I just might not be because the plan is hard. It's tough. So we're going to talk about that just a little bit as to why it is. But before we do
oh,
that, I'm going to read your bio, and then
okay,
we can get started. Okay.
okay, sounds
Okay.
good.
Well, hello everyone. You are listening to and watching, I hope, uh, on the patio with Crystal and Jevon. I am Jevon Thomas, retirement plan advisor. We do this podcast broadcast once a week, and it's just a joy to do. My friend and colleague, though, is Crystal Mitchell, and she is a business coach and consultant. She's the CEO of Mitchell Business Solutions, a co director of Recycling Black Dollars. She's also the co host of The Business Zone. That's another weekly online radio show. You can check that out. Crystal, you need to let me know when that is so we can tell people when to
Oh,
go.
okay. I will make sure you know when that is.
Yeah. She's also an instructor at Mount San Antonio Community College. She's a certified network for teaching entrepreneurship instructor and a QuickBooks Pro Advisor financial strategist. Hey, Crystal, what's the word?
Hey, another day,
What's
another
that?
dollar, another day, and another dollar. And now we right now we just hanging on.
Hanging on,
We hanging on.
hanging on. I feel the same way, the same
Trying to
way.
get past the hang on place, but hanging on.
Okay, so today's topic is employees aren't lazy. The plan is hard. It is. It is something complex, and I'll let you in on a secret. I was at a meeting of some pretty powerful people in one of my corporate jobs, and someone came out and they said, back in the 70s when these plans really began, the Department of Labor and the IRS got together and they suggested that we need to educate people. And so
Mhm.
that's how I had a large part of my career was educating people about the markets, about 401k plans specifically, but about general investing concepts. And the the person said, and this was back, I want to say in the early 90s,
Mhm.
early to mid 90s, perhaps,
Mhm.
maybe even the early 2000s. The person said, we've been at this since the 70s and we have failed. The number of companies that have 401k plans are is pretty small. I mean, that number's starting to get a little bit bigger. But
Mhm.
if you work for a very small organization, maybe 5 or 10 people, it's very possible that you didn't have any kind of retirement. Those
Mm.
things came with you if you're a large organization, but nonetheless, you still had to wade through and figure out how to work this thing, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
and not only is it different terms, but the market doesn't act the way that you want it to act.
Right.
So that makes things that makes things difficult. And I've had some really interesting experiences. Some just recently, where someone said to me, "Hey, I can get this amount of return from here. How much can I get from you?" And I said, "But it doesn't quite work that way." And that just was not good.
Mm.
So even when someone thinks they have a little bit of an understanding, um, sometimes things can be really difficult. And so that makes the plan even more hard because to most of us, A plus B is supposed to equal C. And in the mutual fund world, A plus B could equal a number of things. Just doesn't make sense. So we're going to talk a tiny bit about that and how we can get that fixed.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. And right now I think education is really, really big in this space because the stock market has just been extremely erratic for a minute or two. And if I was getting ready to retire from somewhere, I'd be a little nervous myself.
Yeah, I think many people are. And I think I still believe that maybe it's because it's the way I grew up, but I still believe that education is the key. And there's nothing more disappointing to me as a person in this space to someone than to hear someone say, I just don't get it. I just don't get it. It just
Right.
it just pulls at my heartstrings because I know that once you understand it and once you not even all of it, just a little bit. Once you get a little bit, the world becomes a much easier place for you.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about that. One of the things that people say, and this is again, clip notice: employees aren't lazy. The plan is hard. It is
Mm.
hard. The plan is hard because it has terms that people don't use. It has concepts that people aren't familiar with. And we all know that rich people put money in, and rich people make money, and poor people lose money. And we all know those stories of that one guy that we hear, or that one woman that we hear that invested in the market, made a killing.
Mm.
We want to do that. We want to
Yeah.
invest in the market and make a killing. We
Right.
don't want to fail as many times as that person probably failed beforehand, before they got fortunate. And I'm not going to say lucky because that's not the way it is. Before they glommed on to being someplace at the right moment, at the with the right time, with the right investments, with everything lining up, and we're able to make a really nice profit and to continue doing that.
Right.
Stars lined up for them. So often people ask me to line up the stars, and you know, as good as I am, God don't let me line up them stars. I don't get to line the stars
Yeah,
up.
I don't know if you're that good. I
I'm
don't
not
know if
that
any
good.
of us that good,
Not that good. Just not that
except for the one person that is that good, the one entity that is that good.
good. Yeah.
So
So number one,
there's a reason why you're not that good, not
that's
the
true.
best of the
That's
best.
true. That's true. So number one, too many choices. People see all those choices. We call it analysis by or paralysis by analysis, and they just shut down. Number two, the language. Yeah, and I myself, as much as I hate jargon, I am so guilty. Instead of saying things like putting money into the plan, I say things like contributions. Instead of saying things like taking money out of the plan, I say things like withdrawal.
Right.
Instead of saying things like growth, I say X percentage.
Mm.
And I say words like S&P instead of the Standard and Poor's, and I say words like mutual funds and stocks and bonds and baskets of stocks and bonds instead of saying the car wash, the grocery store, the all those little businesses out there that are actually quite huge. They're big enough to have stock. All of those.
Right.
So the language is tough, and I think one of the things that gets people is they wonder if they're too much. They wonder if they're too much. They wonder if they're too little. They wonder if they're too much. They wonder if they're too little. They wonder if they're too much. They wonder if they're too little. They wonder if they're too much. They wonder if they're too little. They wonder if they're too much. They wonder if they're too little. They wonder if they're too much. They wonder if they're too little. They wonder if they're too much. They wonder if they're too little. They wonder if they're too much. They wonder if they're too little. They wonder if they're too much. They wonder if they're too little. They wonder if they're too much. They wonder if they're too little. They wonder if they're too much. They wonder if they're too little. They wonder if they're too much. They wonder if they're too little. They wonder if they're too much. They wonder if they're too little. They wonder if they're too much. They wonder if they're t if it's too much too late, right? Should I have started this back in my 20s? Well, you're not in your 20s. So start now. Or
Yeah.
if I'm in my 20s, can I wait till I pay off my debt? No, don't pay off your debt. Because as much, yeah, pay off your debt, please, but don't wait till you pay off your debt to get in. Because you cannot beat the power of compounding.
Yeah.
So use the tools that we can talk about that you want to talk about with your advisor. And if you happen to be an HR person or person that owns a company, please, please connect with your advisor. One of my clients just called me today and said, "Hey, last year you came around and did some meetings. You didn't do any this year. What's up?" Oh, 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 oh. Let me get out there, right?
They're
So,
asking you. That's a good thing.
yeah, right.
Okay.
So people need to do it. People need to get it. Okay, so um, clip number two, and this is the one that gets me, but confusion doesn't create action, it creates avoidance. So when you're an HR person or you own the company and you spend valuable resources, time and people and give support to
Mm-hmm.
get folks educated, having folks like me come in to do education, and your folks don't join the plan, it can be disheartening.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to say, God bless you for giving it a shot, and let's keep making it more accessible, which means let's not have all that complexity, because complexity creates delays. Delays create inaction. And then the next thing you know, someone's been working for you for 8, 9, 10 years. They've never put anything in the plan.
Right.
So I guess if I was going to say time for another clip, I'd say clip confusion. Confusion doesn't create action. People don't get confused and just go, "Oh, okay, I'll jump in." They don't do that. They get
No.
confused and they
No.
avoid things.
Well, they
I know
gotta.
you've experienced that in your
Yeah, they
job.
gotta feel confident, and they have to trust you. Actually, I think because there's so many outsiders that don't necessarily know all the details. And so they, if it happened to them, then of course they became an expert on that, but they don't know all of the components. And again, we're all individuals, right? So they'll hear, I call those the street corner consultants,
Yes.
and they
Well,
will tell, right? They will tell them X, Y, and Z. And of
mhm,
course, now that just kind of goes down the grapevine there. And then
yeah.
it becomes gospel. But if you ask them okay, show me that. Well, I can't show that because it doesn't exist, right? Because it's street corner gossip. But yeah, I think it's in anything, right? Especially when it comes to your money. The more knowledgeable you are about that, the better are. I mean, even simple banking. People, those of us that are in the accounting field and have done bookkeeping, for a great portion of their business practice. There's certain practices that different banks have that affects how your daily monies are applied to your account and your transactions and your debits and your credits. And a lot of people don't know what that is. And so if they don't understand the banking and they have that concept, long as I have checks, I have money. Uh, and I've seen it in action.
Well,
So
on the
that's
one
not a
hand,
myth.
yeah, I mean, on the one hand, you got to think, if you didn't want me to spend the money, why did you give me the checks?
Right, a check or a debit card. Why'd you give me a debit card if you didn't want me to just go take it? But thank
Right?
God for the debit card. They just can't pull everything out because if you don't have it, you don't have it. Checks, unfortunately, operate a little bit different. And
Just a little bit
so,
different.
but yeah, so the average layperson does not have the knowledge we assume that they have.
It's true. And I think as an educator, I don't know if I can really call myself that. There are people who go to school and really care about people. But as a person who is in this business, um, trying to help people understand the opportunities that they have, it is very disheartening when someone just gives up. But in the reality of the situation is that's going to happen, right? Folks are just going to
Yeah.
give up. So those of us that are in this business, those of us who have the opportunity to have ownership potential or to be able to guide people to some type of retirement plan, we've got to remember to meet people where they are. And some folks are at a spot where they need to make things not complicated. They need to make things that are, they need to make some decisions where they don't have to be an investment professional. And that was the push before when I first got into this business was okay, we're going to tell people about the business, the market rather. We're going to tell people about investing. We're going to make these folks investment professionals enough so they can make a good decision.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, we're going to make you a car driver good enough so that you can actually drive your car, right? So we're gonna at least tell you, okay, this is where the gas goes, this is where the oil goes, this is where the accelerator is, this is where the brakes are. We're gonna get you enough knowledge so that you can drive your car. And you and I both know that I've never even seen the engine in my car. I don't even know how that thing runs. I know that it makes noise when I crank it up, and it's somewhere behind me, right? But I've never seen the engine, right? And my father taught me how to change the oil and spark plugs and change tires and change hoses and belts, and I've done a lot of that stuff. I don't even know the car has it. I just know
Right.
that it
And
cranks up
nowadays,
and it goes.
what your father taught you back then is not applicable today
Right?
because the
It
cars
doesn't.
are made with
Yeah,
computers and stuff. So,
exactly. Like
um,
I'd be looking for the carburetor. Like
you
yeah,
be
people like
looking right,
carburetor,
exactly.
get out of here, just go, just go.
Right, right. But I will say this, as educators are people that the knowledge that they acquire, and in your business, just like in my business, we just can't operate on something that we learned 10, 15, 20 years ago or when we got our licenses, right? We
Mm,
have to constantly stay on top of what's current just to be able to run a value proposition within our business that really still is in line with our mission, right?
yes.
So you're always having to stay on top of current information and changes and how things affect your business and your customers' business, your client's business. So I'd say yes, you are an educator. I had someone tell me one time before, and I was saying they were calling me a business coach, and I was like, no, I'm not. And they're like, yeah, you are. And then they kind of laid it out, and the number of years that I've been doing what I was doing, and the effects that I was having on my clients, and I guess I am.
There
I
you go.
just never
There
thought of
you go.
myself that way. So I'm
Yeah,
gonna tell you, if you're teaching your clients how to be better prepared for retirement, then yes, you are an educator. Educators
that's what
don't
we
have
do.
to have gone to college for that.
Indeed.
I know some that did that are not
There you go.
educators.
There you go. Since we're at this point where we definitely understand that um, when things get complicated, people feel the best thing to do is nothing, right? And we know that that can happen for a long time. And I've met a lot of people uh, who didn't come to understand how to invest, or were afraid to, or just had another priority, and now they're hoping to hang out with their kids, and they're hoping that their kids are going to be able to support them. They're hoping that they're going to be able to see their grandkids, and they're having to make some really tough decisions about their life. And I'm sitting here going, huh, if I could turn back the hands of time just a little bit, just so that you could get into this thing, get started, get um, lack of a better word, get aggressive,
Mm,
get out there. Um, your lives would be so much better than
yeah,
what you're looking at. Because if we're thinking about gas prices being high now, just can you imagine how high they're going to be when we're on a fixed income? Right? We
yeah,
don't have the opportunity to go work a second job, or we don't have the opportunity to cut out a little bit. Retirement is going to be tough for a lot of people, I think. And
yeah,
so, from my point of view, in a way, I don't want to say that we're looking at life as being failures, but in a way, most of the folks I know that do what I do, we do have to take stock and say, uh, that one that got away, wow, I hope they're going to be okay.
Right.
You know, I hope
Exactly.
they're going to be okay. So, as an employer, as an HR person, as a person like myself, what do you do? How do you help? Well, number one, I would say let's take some of that complication out, right? Let's make some of those decisions simply, and we can do that simplified rather. We can do that with structuring our qualified default investment alternatives, right? That's got to be something that people understand. That's a good one, right? So we can take those automatic options, right?
Right.
Those where your money automatically comes out of your paycheck, whether you like it or not. You just have to say
Mm-hmm.
no to make it stop happening.
Mm-hmm.
We can make that happen, but we can make that happen in a way that actually increases that amount so that if you, even if you, and I want to be careful, even if you're not quite sure about how this works, at least you're not stuck down there at 3%, right? At least by getting the ball rolling, at least you're putting away a little bit more. And then at least if we're going to choose some type of default investment, um, perhaps a target date fund or maybe a balanced fund, but maybe we find a way that we can actually help people make better decisions about where their money is going. And I got to say this, challenge the retirement plan advisor person that you have, challenge the record keeper that you have, challenge everyone that is connected with that plan to come up with ways to educate your people.
Right.
You have to do that. Um, and as a, as a retirement plan advisor, as a business, one of my things is tearing that cost center into a profit center. The most effective way to do that is educating your people and making sure you have a plan that's servicing those folks,
Mm-hmm.
servicing your people, doing
Right.
something for your people. Because so many
Exactly.
times, if it's confusing, they're just not going to do it.
No, that's very, very true. You have to make sure they're in the right with the right people and that have the best understanding for what they need. And then I think also, uh, yeah, their company is supposed to keep them informed, but we're pretty intelligent people, and
No, you're making
so
a
we should
point
be
there.
able to at least reach out and say, okay, where are the areas that I should be what I should learn more about what is happening here, right? And for some basic courses or something of that nature. Um, the language is something I tell my clients as well. Jevon, finance has its own specific language, just like any industry. If I was in the gas and oil or whatever, there's a language that they use that count. If you're in the state or city or federal, that's alphabet city, right? You sit there and you going, what language are they speaking? I see, I see English coming out, but I don't understand a thing you're saying because
Yeah.
everything is an acronym, right? So, and you spend more of your time trying to figure out the acronym than what they're really saying to you throughout the whole conversation. Like, what did he mean by that? And you don't know what else he said. But I think that's the first thing. I think we all have to have some sort of accountability, personal accountability, because it's our retirement.
We do. I could not have agreed more. Personal accountability is huge. We all have to have that. However, I also have to say that um, we as professionals, we have to set ourselves a higher bar. We can't just say um, we can't just say that freedom is going to allow you to not be prepared. We've got to do better. And the
Mm-hmm.
reason I say that is people not prepared for retirement hurts all of us.
Mm-hmm.
If you're uber wealthy, then if you've got half of the population that isn't prepared for retirement, that doesn't mean a whole lot to you. That just means that, when you go out to dinner, maybe you pay a little bit more, or maybe you pay a little bit less because you don't have to worry about it, right? You can go to those places where you don't have to spend the money or what have you. But for
Mm-hmm.
those of us that are looking at being kind of in the middle, and for some of us, many of us, be in below middle of what we would consider a decent retirement. Having a large amount of folks around you who don't have a solid retirement plan is a detriment, because that means the people that you are trying to help, namely you and your family, you're going to spend a lot more money on that help than you are having a good life and being peaceful and loving and what having you, whatever it is that you do. Right? You're going to
Mm,
spend a lot more money um, helping people exists rather than keeping folks, out of poverty and stopping that.
right.
So, in a way, I got to say, yes, I definitely believe in freedom. I definitely believe in responsibility. Those things go hand in hand, but we're not at that situation now. We're at a situation now where those of us who know, we've got to step up, and we have to bring people along. We have to reach back and teach one. We've got to do it because we won't survive without these folks. It's just not going to
Hmm.
happen. You can preach freedom if you want. Is this me on my soapbox? Sorry about that. You can.
No, I know. I think it's important. I think, yeah. Well, however we get through to people, because this is
We have to do it.
it's
We are,
critical
you
right
know,
now.
we are so critical right now. I mean, not to get political, but our country is in a state, right? And whatever side you're on, we are in a state that we don't want to be in.
Mm-mm,
Nobody's happy, right?
mm-mm,
Nobody's happy.
mm-mm.
So we need each other. We need each other to help each other and to pull each other up. We need that. The idea that we can just let somebody do their thing and not be bothered with it, uh, those opportunities are slipping away from us. We need to get ourselves back to the point where we can say that. We're not there yet. And the point where we can really say that is when under the understanding that they're going to have a decent retirement. They're going to have a place to live. They're going to be able to eat. They're going to be able to afford groceries. Once we get those needs,
Right.
once we get those, then we can say, "Oh, you're free to do what you want to do."
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Then
Exactly.
you're really free. Until then, you're not really free.
No,
You
not
know,
at all. Not
uh,
not at all.
and
Yeah.
those of us
There.
that are fairly well off, we're not going to be free. I wish I was one of them. We're not going to be free. We're not going to be free because you can only put up fences so far. Eventually, you're going to have to come out of that house. Eventually, you're going to have to come out of there, and you're going to have to deal with people who
Yeah.
didn't save enough for retirement, and it's not going to be pretty. You're not going to want to do
No.
it.
Not at all. And they became well off because of those people that they don't have empathy for, and
Exactly.
they feel they've made it. So, well, why can't you? Well, I could if I had the same opportunities in place that you did, because you didn't get there by yourself. So,
Exactly.
and that's it. And I think that's what we're missing in today's world. Empathy has flown the coop.
I think you're hitting the nail on the head. It, we have to go beyond uh, personal responsibility, and we have to get to empathy. We just
Yeah,
have to do it. I totally believe in a rising tide raises all boats. That
yeah,
tide ain't raising without empathy. The
mm-mm,
tide does not raise on free to do what you want to do
yeah,
because we're not there yet.
no,
We're at that point where people need help. That's
yeah,
where we are. And if you have the ability to own a company, if you have someone like myself who owns their own company, our opportunity is to help people along.
right.
However you want to do it, that's just the deal. But just to say, you know what, they don't care and I don't really care, and that's
I'm on my own. I got mine.
that's not
Why am I worried about somebody else? Because we live on this earth with
yeah,
other people.
we do.
God intended it that way, actually.
He might have.
So,
I mean, I'd love to
right,
ask. He might have.
right,
He just
exactly.
might
If he wanted you to be by yourself, he would have put you by yourself.
have. Maybe,
Trust.
maybe. Okay. All right. I'll go with you. I'll go with you.
Yeah.
All righty. So I tell you what.
Mm-mm.
How about if I read your bio one more time, and I know you
Gotcha.
have some words in there, some things to take us out. So I'll let you have the last word, and then
Okay.
we'll call it good. How's that?
Okay.
Well, everyone, this is Jevon Thomas, and you've been listening to On the Patio. We do this broadcast once a week on Mondays. Crystal, my good friend and colleague, has always been just the person that people come to see. Every time I ask people, hey, have you seen the broadcast? You go, where's Crystal? Where's she at? Nobody wants to talk to me. I want to talk to
Oh, that's nice.
you. It's nice. Yes. So, Crystal is a business coach and consultant. She's the CEO of Mitchell Business Solutions, co director of Recycling Black Dollar. She's also the co host of another weekly online radio show called The Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert. She's an instructor at Mount San Antonio Community College, a certified network for teaching entrepreneurship instructor, and a QuickBooks Pro Advisor financial strategist. So, with that, Crystal, I'll give you the last word.
Last word is basically what we've been talking about throughout the show is that we just have to be very concerned, not terrified, because one of the things I learned that the more I do my research and the more I uh, learn and add more to my own repertoire of information, the less fearful I am. Right, so then I can make better decisions without fear, and they're those decisions are for the greater good, and I'm not just thinking for the immediate. I'm thinking for the long term, and so whatever we do, uh, making better decisions when it comes to our money and our way of life is vitally important for everyone. So some mistakes you can't recoup and can't recover. So uh, on the front end, if you put the time in to understand what's happening to your money and what you require and what your needs are, and don't be afraid of it, then in the long term, you'll come out better. You'll come out better for that.
I could not have said it better myself. Thank you, Crystal. That
You're welcome.
is so spot on. So spot on. We're going to leave it right there. We'll be back next week for another broadcast thing about retirement plans. And if you have any questions, please reach out to us. I'm Jevon Thomas, retirement plan advisor, and you've been watching On the Patio with Crystal and Jevon. See you next week.
Bye bye, everyone. Have a great week.